Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to another video. It's been a little bit since I've posted a video, and I haven't really posted a good video yet, so hopefully this one goes good. Anyways, today we're going to be looking at 66, 80, 100cc, whatever two-stroke motorized bike engines you have. We're going to be looking at mods for those. So, I hope you guys enjoy. Make sure to like and subscribe, and again, enjoy the video. So, alright guys, so I've moved in a way quieter area, as you can see, but anyways, the best thing you need for your engine is your air intake and your exhaust. So, the more air that you can breathe in your engine, and the more that can go out, the faster and the harder your engine will work. But also remember, if it's working too hard, stuff will start to break because of overheating, or just anything can happen, not being properly oiled, and just, I don't know, anything can happen. So you want to get stronger parts later on if you do too much, but we're going to go to number one. Alright, so number one is your intake. You want to get a good carburetor. Doesn't matter what you get as long as you tune it up right. I know you can use the stock ones, tune them up good, or you can get an aftermarket one. I don't know all the crazy names for them, but I'm going to show you the one I'm getting. As you guys can see, I'm getting a super cheap carburetor. Usually those are like 18 bucks. Last I got one of those, it was like $23. They're all the same. I can tell between the looks of them. Like, I can see, and if they're cheaper because of the jetting, I just gotta rejet it with like a welder pick thing, where like you unclog the welder. Anyways, yeah, it's super easy to rejet a carburetor, so you can tune and tweak any of those carburetors. I just like to get the aftermarket ones like that because uh instead of buying an air filter adapter for it to be a whole nother random piece you have to keep taking on to mess with your carburetor and adding on, it's just stupid. So I'd rather have that one because it's got that adapter for a better race air filter, um, like combined with it, like it's part of it. And so those little air filters are about that, like just about that thick. Here, I don't know if y'all can see. Yeah, alright, they're like that thick. And the one I have is about like that. And it's obviously aftermarket. Um, like all this stuff is aftermarket parts, but you can also, like I said, you can do stock. So now, as y'all saw, the super cheap carburetor. And another thing is I will list everything in the description below, not the comments, the description. So now we're gonna move on to the exhaust. Alright, so your exhaust, you need a good exhaust because the stock exhausts, you can't really make them good besides what I'm gonna do, and I'll get to that here in a second. But the stock exhausts, they just suck. And I know there's like, so it's shaped like this, and it goes down at the ground, and you can take the end of it off by unscrewing a bolt, and it's supposed to give it a little bit better power, but then again, you don't have as much back pressure, so it's horrible either way, but it just makes it a little bit better. There's pros and cons, but and I'm not going to get to all that today, but anyways, what I'm going to do is I have a 49cc pocket bike exhaust. I forget what they're called, but it's got a better chamber to where it's like almost a bubble. And it's like the exhaust, then it goes big, and then back to small. And that is what I have, and it's not going to fit because it's got this bend, so I have to cut it, and then cut the stock exhaust, and then I'll weld together and everything. And I'll just weld them both and make a hybrid exhaust out of both of those. So But other exhausts, you can look on Amazon and find two-stroke exhausts. They can be straight piped if they have that little bubble thing I was talking about. But other than that, if they don't, you need a muffler. And if they you can run both and it works really good still. But if it doesn't have the bubble thing, and it's just a muffler, it's gonna suck. I'm sorry. Uh, they're just horrible exhausts. Like, so you need to have that bubble in it. I'm just gonna call it a bubble. Sounds stupid, but who cares? Anyways, so now that I got past the exhaust, you can get different intake manifolds, and there's one I'm thinking about getting, but I think I don't remember what it's called, but here's the one I'm most likely gonna get, and I'll show you the one that I'm probably gonna get later on. So as you guys saw, one was obviously way more expensive than the other one. They're both more expensive than stock because they're aftermarket, so they're both high quality parts. But one is way more power, and it's a totally different thing than just a little piece of pipe that's about like that big. It's got like a whole other engineering thing to it. So, uh, anyways, now that we talked about intake manifolds, we're gonna go to the dual spark plug headers. So a dual spark plug header is it your throttle response, like it'll ignite quicker because it's two spark plugs. So it's definitely gonna ignite quicker. Um, whenever you're on a long trail or something, like eventually, if because spark plugs last like they can last up to like a couple of years, and if like say one goes bad, it'll still run because you have another spark plug. So yeah, there's that. But the other reason is, like I was saying, it'll ignite faster, which will make your bike faster, and it'll react way quicker when you give it throttle. So I'll show you the dual spark plug header. This is the best kit I found on Amazon. Alright, now that you guys have seen the dual spark plug header and know what it looks like and know the name to look up or whatever, um, you can find it. But anyways, now we're gonna move on to the gearing or your gear ratios. So your gear ratios is like what it sounds like your ratio with the gearing, pretty much. And different gears make like different speeds and more power. Like if you have a bigger, you always want a smaller gear in the front, like on the engine and on the back wheel, or I guess you could do front wheel if you wanted some weird setup. But on the wheels, you want a bigger sprocket. On the engine, you want a smaller sprocket. Bicycles will definitely be different. I still haven't really cared to figure out why, but it's for some good reason. Also, your wheel ratio can be a little bit weird too. Like, my bike is a BMX bike, being converted into like a dirt bike. So I'm gonna put a swing arm on it, and then I'm gonna have mountain bike suspension in the front, and mountain bike tires on the rims. And I'm actually doing something really weird I don't think anybody's done before. I'm gonna run two front wheels on it because the gear fit perfectly, the sprocket fit perfectly over one of these front wheels I had for a 20-inch bike or a 20-inch rim, and I had some mountain bike tires that are like brand new almost. So I threw those on both of the front wheels, and all I gotta do is paint them because one's like blue, the other is black. So, and the other bad thing is one's like a certain type of plastic or something, and it's really strong, and the other one is like metal. So I don't know. Anyways, what I was saying about wheel ratio is so how some are smaller, like some wheels are smaller, because these engines are meant for bigger bikes, like 24 inches and smaller, a little bit smaller, like in between 20 and 24. Uh, so it's gonna get really weird when you're messing with wheel ratios and sprockets. But with a bigger bike, like a 24 or whatever, you want to put a smaller sprocket, like smaller than a 44. That's what most of them come with. Stock is 44. Something like 30 something with like not low 30s, but like mid 30s, 32 sprockets. So with little, like smaller back wheels, you can run 44 tooth to like a 50 tooth, is what I would do for a 20-inch. But that's just my thoughts. Also, so the stock mounts you have for your bikes, they have they rely on your spokes, and your spokes are just these super thin, tiny pieces of wire, pretty much, and it's not good because you need spokes for your bike rim for everything to connect. So the best idea is to get a hub mount. It mounts to your hub. It goes like through the spokes. It doesn't clamp down on them like your rubber and metal mounts you have do. And it's super easy to align it. You can eyeball it super easy, and everything just goes together like butter. Super smooth process to mount everything. So that is way easier, and it's way more aligned and way better for your rims than the stock mounts. And I'm going to show you what I got here in a second. So now that you guys have seen my back wheel mount and my sprocket I'm getting, it's a combo. Um, Now I'm gonna move on to the pull starter. The pull starter is way better than having to pedal and then let go of your clutch. It's just so much easier to do, and your clutch will still work with it. So like you have your clutch out, and then you pull it, and then after it's started, because like that's way better than, I don't know. It's just always been the easier thing to me. So yeah, you leave your clutch out, you pull start it, and then you can pull it in, and then like you have to hold both handlebars. I'd be on like the left side of the bike, hold both handlebars and give it throttle, pull it, and then hold down on the clutch after you get it started. I've never had one put on. I've gotten them before, but last time I got one, I ended up throwing away my magneto and the key for it. The key is like a little tiny piece of metal that you really need for them, and then I just ended up giving up on it. So yeah. Anyways, your pull starters are super easy to get on. Just do not throw away your magneto, and be sure to use the right hexes because you will strip them out whenever you're changing out parts. So you where your magneto is on the like front of the engine on the left, you unscrew that, and it's shaped like this, and then it's like flat on one side. So you'll know which part it is based on how the pull starter looks. But yeah, you unscrew four of those, and then you can just mount your pull starter on. So I got two more. So one is if your engine's not running at all, because a lot of times they go through manufacturing problems. What you want to do is take your engine head off, and a lot of times the piston is flipped around to where it's got an arrow on it, and I think that should be pointing the intake side. You can watch videos on it. I'm not too sure. I've never had that happen to me, but I've watched videos because I've had problems with them before. But there's that, and then in your intake and exhaust, you need to port it out because they have like it's got like weird buildup. Sorry, if you look inside of it, in your intake and exhaust, it's got like this buildup which is taking away from your engine performance by a lot. So you can get a file and file that down, or you can get a Dremel, and you need to watch videos on it before, because there's different like Dremel bits and everything, and it has to be super smooth. So it has to be all polished after too, so that it doesn't mess up anything.